The plane hadn't even left the tarmac when they pulled her from her seat. No warning. No explanation. Just a nod from a flight attendant, a quick word into a radio, and two uniformed staffers flanking her like she was a threat. The man occupying her seat didn't glance up. No one asked questions. No one intervened. She walked down the aisle with her head high as if the stares, the murmurs, the judgment rolling off the other passengers like static didn't register. Her name was Camille Lawson. Young. Black. Quiet. Her boarding pass said Seat 2A, First Class. But apparently that didn't matter. Security scanned her ticket 3 times like it might vanish. Called a supervisor. Whispered amongst themselves. Someone muttered, probably used points. Camille never shouted. Never cried. Never fought. She just left. What none of them knew, not the passengers, not the gate agents, not even the captain, was that Camille Lawson wasn't just a passenger. She was the woman controlling a $4 billion equity deal poised to revolutionize sustainable aviation. And the airline? They had no idea she was the final sign-off. By the time the plane touched down in Zurich without her, it was already too late. Camille had walked into Falcon International Airport wearing faded jeans, a soft white t-shirt, and gray sneakers. Her black hair was tied up casually, and the only jewelry she wore was a leather bracelet, a keepsake from her mother. On her back, a worn backpack carried a laptop and a secure hardware wallet worth more than most homes in the suburbs. She looked like any other traveler, which was exactly the point. Discretion was currency. In Camille's world, silence bought access. She had wired more capital across international markets in a week than some hedge funds moved in a quarter. First class wasn't luxury to her. It was strategy. She arrived early, precisely 120 minutes before boarding. Not because she was nervous, but because punctuality was part of the discipline. Timing was leverage. The 7:30 p.m. flight to Zurich aligned with the rollout of a renewable fuel initiative she had personally backed through her firm, Halberd Equity Partners. The check-in agent barely concealed her doubt when Camille presented her passport and digital wallet. "This is first class," the woman said flatly. "Yes," Camille answered. "Do you have another payment method on file?" "No. It was purchased through a corporate ledger." Halberd Equity. The name made the agent pause. She picked up the phone and whispered into it. Her smile was tight when she returned. "Just a routine verification. Could you step aside for a moment?" Camille stepped aside. Moments later, a suited man strolled to the counter, flashing a Rolex and a knowing grin. He was greeted like royalty. The agent didn't ask about his payment method. Eventually, Camille was called back. Her payment had been confirmed. "You understand," the agent added in a lower voice, "we have to be careful. People try to sneak into first class." Camille didn't flinch. "I'm not surprised." She moved through TSA where she was pulled aside again. "Random screening," they said. Her hardware wallet raised eyebrows. The agent lifted it, scowling. "What's this?" "A cold wallet." "Crypto," Camille replied. "You some Bitcoin chick?" She didn't respond. "Need to check for explosives," he said. She stood still, her back straight, eyes forward as a female agent patted her down and others rifled through her bag. No one else in the security line was treated like this. A mother pulled her children closer. A businessman sneered. When they returned her belongings, they said nothing. She moved to the lounge. At the reception desk, another agent studied her sneakers before asking, "Do you have a frequent flyer number?" "No," Camille said. "Just the boarding pass. Dining is reserved for elite members. You'll have access to general seating." Camille nodded and took a seat by the window. She wasn't offered water. No menu. Servers passed her by, delivering sparkling wine to others. She waited. She let them show their hands. When it was time to board, she walked calmly to the gate. "Ma'am," a voice stopped her. "Could you step aside for a quick verification?" Again. "Is there an issue?" "Just a confirmation of payment." "I've already confirmed it." He smiled apologetically. "Procedural." She followed him to a small podium. The second agent typed. "Payment cleared," he said. "Looks like a crypto-backed fund." That probably flagged it. "You know how it is," the first agent added. Camille stared at him. "Are we done?" "Yes, you're cleared." She rejoined the line, boarded the plane, and walked to her seat 2A. Someone was sitting in it. A man in his 50s, relaxed, magazine in hand, golf cap tucked beside him. He barely looked up. "This is my seat," Camille said. Flight attendant didn't say anything. "Maybe yours is 2B. "No. It's 2A. The attendant approached. "Is there a problem?" Camille explained. The attendant asked the man for his boarding pass. "Looks like you're in 2C, she said. "I always sit by the window," he protested. Turning to Camille, she said, "Would you mind taking 2C? It's still first class." Camille paused. "You want me to give up my seat to accommodate someone who took the wrong one? It avoids disruption." Camille could have refused, demanded a supervisor. But she sat in 2C. Her silence wasn't surrender. It was strategy. The man leaned back into her seat, triumphant. The attendant offered champagne to him, skipped Camille. Dinner service came. Camille's meal arrived late. No bread. No wine. She ate quietly. A new attendant approached. "Ms. Lawson," she said. "Is everything all right?" The purser asked me to check. "Discomfort?" Camille asked. "From whom?" "I'm not at liberty to say." "Then relay this. I haven't done anything but exist in a space I paid to be in. I expect no favors. Just equality." The attendant nodded and left. Camille reclined her seat and waited. When everyone else slept, she stood. Moved quietly to a panel marked Authorized Access. She scanned her print. Green light. Entry. Inside the system's bay, she inserted a secure key. The screen lit up. "Welcome, Camille Lawson." She tapped a biometric pad. A voice answered. "Wasn't expecting this. Everything on schedule? I need to confirm authorization. Now." "Understood." Executive control transferred. She disconnected, left the bay, and returned to her seat. The plane landed in Zurich. As passengers disembarked, no one noticed the quiet woman in 2C. At the terminal's edge, a man in a navy suit held a badge with a Silver Falcon logo. "Director Lawson," he greeted. She followed him through a side corridor to a glass-walled boardroom. 3 men rose as she entered. CFO, Head of Fleet, and Chief Innovation Officer. Their eyes widened. They knew her name. They didn't expect her face. "Ms. Lawson," the CFO began. "We didn't expect you until tomorrow." The context required a timeline change. She laid a document on the table. Effective immediately, Halbert is suspending the final tranche of $94 million until an actionable equity audit is completed. "This jeopardizes the Zurich rollout," one protested. "Then you should have considered who your employees were alienating." "Ms. Lawson, we sincerely apologize." "I don't need apologies. I need structural integrity." She left them in silence. Within hours, Halbert suspended all funding. The airline's stock dropped. Press inquiries flooded in. Flight 901's crew was placed under review. Within a week, the airline issued a public statement about reevaluating internal practices. Camille watched from her hotel, tea in hand. She didn't want revenge. She wanted reflection. 37 days later, Meridian Skies launched its first hydrogen aircraft with a new passenger rights policy co-authored by Camille Lawson. At a training center in Dallas, the lead flight attendant from Flight 901 stood before her team. "We didn't get fired," she said. "We got a chance to understand." Camille entered the room quietly, standing by the wall. "Growth doesn't happen in silence," she said. "It happens in collision. The goal isn't perfection. It's attention." A trainee asked, "Why help us?" After all that, Camille looked around. Because power doesn't always wear a suit. Sometimes it just wants to be treated like it belongs in 2A. And sometimes the most powerful person on the plane is the one no one saw coming.